Slip and Dip podcast.
You listen to Kendrick and Matt on the Slip and Dip podcast.
Oh, beautiful, man. What's going on, people? UFC 238 in the books. Triple G versus Rolls in the books. Incredible night of fights, man. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to react to it. All the craziness that just went down. Kendrick, what's going on over there?
Feel good to be in the minority, but get a majority results.
What minority are you speaking of, sir? What minority are you speaking of?
That new champ, Henry, the messenger Cejudo. I got the message a couple fights back. That man's a certified Hall of Famer. He got 2 belts, a gold medal, and confidence out the wazoo with a great performance. He took Marlon Moraes into deep waters and got the job done.
Yeah, he did that. He did that, man. We'll talk about that, obviously, since that's the most recent thing to come across, man. We'll dive into some other parts of the card here in a minute. But in the first round, man, this was looking like every bit like I thought was going to be for Marlon Moraes. Went out there. He was quicker to the punch. He was picking Henry apart. But Henry kind of stayed calm. Didn't try to overcommit to too much. He was still trying to figure it out, while Marlon was just going out there and just sniping.
Yeah, another thing, not just the fact that Henry won, that stood out to me, y'all other MMA fighters, make adjustments quickly. I would get tired of watching fights, and you see, we saw it tonight. Friend of the show, Tatiana Suarez, did her thing, was whooping up on Nina Osarov, dominated the full 10 minutes, and then Nina made changes, and the third round was too late. You got to, the quicker you can do it, I guess it's easier said than done, but the elite people do it. He showed why he's elite. That's why he's got 2 belts and a gold medal that you cannot buy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, man.
It's funny, full disclosure, we actually watched the fight together, which we really do. I might call it for changes, man. It's like, what you talking about? It takes a minute.
It does take a minute. It takes a minute. See, Kendrick's not selling.
I saw it right ahead.
Selling the story the way it went down.
Right away what he needed to do. But everything I said he needed to do, is that what he needed to do, though?
But you were freaking out. Kendrick was over here freaking out that Henry wasn't making changes a minute into the second round. I'm like, bro, he's got 5 rounds. He will make adjustments. Relax. And then what did you see 2 minutes into the second round? He started making more and more adjustments. He started coming forward with the punches. He started just putting Marlon on his back foot, closing that distance, taking away that leg kick that he was getting brutalized with in the first round.
Eliminate that power, had him change levels. Yeah. Had him fighting backwards. Yeah. Which I don't know why more people haven't done that to him. And then he gashed him and took him in deep waters and got him up out of there.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. That was the key to victory, man. Putting pressure on Marlon without, getting himself in a bad position on the mat, because Marlon is a beast on the ground too. The first guy to submit a Rafael Assunção, he is a beast on the mat. But the way that Cejudo handled it was perfect. He got the little snap down on the takedown and tried to lock up that anaconda choke. It didn't work. But he was able to keep that position on top and eventually ground and pound him out until the ref was like, nah, bro, this is it. And, shout out to anybody watching live in the chat. We appreciate it. Unemployed Mario Yamasaki, can people please stop sleeping on Cejudo now and give him his credit. Listen, Cejudo's claim.
Talk to Matt.
Cejudo's claim to being the best combat sports athlete is so true. It's true now. It's true now. I mean, show me somebody else more accomplished across multiple combat sports than Cejudo that has a gold medal. Did you know Cejudo had a gold medal? Did you know that?
I didn't get offended like a lot of the MMA. I think if it was that easy to get one, everybody have one. He's in like the 2% of the world. I think it's probably smaller than that has a gold medal. There's a reason to be proud about that. You too could have got one, but we didn't get one. So he had a reason to stick his chest out about that. Like literally, it's easier to get a UFC belt than it is to get a gold medal, for real.
Yeah.
That's how hard it is.
Well, of course. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody arguing the merits of a Olympic gold medal versus a UFC belt, especially the way the lack of meritocracy exists in the world of the UFC. But that's where we're at. Let me share out this link real quick, get some more people in here in the chat. Incredible night of fights, man. I literally almost forgot that Henry Cejudo and Marlon Moraes was happening after the co-main and the co-main. I was good. I had my fill of MMA for the night. Like, I was good, even with the unfortunate way Ferguson and Cerrone ended. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Why people keep talking about controversial? Like, it was clear. I don't understand why I keep saying it. It's controversial.
Nobody's saying controversial. Saying unfortunate.
I think controversial on a couple of people's.
Controversial is not the correct word to be using.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's not controversial.
Sorry for that.
Valentina, I didn't think she was gonna knock her out, but I told Matt literally, she cried like an amateur walking up on her. She about to get that head kick. I think it's gonna put her to sleep and put a highlight reel, but I saw it coming.
Well, that's the thing.
I ain't gonna say I see the result. I saw the actual kick going. I didn't think she gonna put her to sleep like that.
I don't think anybody expected Jessica to win this fight.
No.
I know my man unemployed Mario Yamasaki said his poor baby Jessica got KO'd, got murked. She absolutely got murked.
She fought like an amateur, bro. You can't come up in there.
She didn't fight like an amateur.
You can't come up on a world champion with your hands down.
She did not fight like an amateur. She got set up by one of the most surgical fighters in all of mixed martial arts, and that is Valentina Shevchenko. She did not fight like an amateur. She got set up beautifully, going with the body kick early in the first round, which when they showed the replay, I wish I could pull it up here without getting pulled down for copyright infringement. But the way that they pulled it up was perfect. In that first round, Valentina blasted her to the body with that kick, and Jessica tried to block both. She tried to prepare for the head and block the body. Valentina still snuck it through there. So there in that second round at the very, very beginning, Valentina came with that same look. But this time she went high, and Jessica's hand was way out here. And you see the picture on the screen. That's the result. Just fell like a tree in the forest, boy.
She was out before she hit that and hit the ground, too.
Shout out to Valentina, man. She is a machine. She's a professional. She knew no more follow-up was needed. I'm just going to go ahead and skip around your body as you attempt to come back to consciousness here.
She was out about 5 minutes, too.
She was out a long time, man. Like clean KOs like that, boy, you're going to be out for a minute.
I guarantee she doesn't fight the rest of 2019.
She doesn't need to. She shouldn't as well. When you get KO'd like that, yeah, please take your time off. Please. It takes a lot of time to recover. Don't go back in there and rush. 125 is not a division where you're going to be too far back in the queue, you know?
Yeah. Pops to Valentina, she said she want all the top 10 because she want to clear them out one by one. That's what an assassin does.
Yeah.
She ain't no name. She said you in the top 10, I'll fight you like basically like tomorrow. She didn't say tomorrow, but she implied that.
Yeah, she did. She did. She absolutely
Pops to her. She was to clear out the division. She want all the smoke.
Yeah, no doubt. And got another comment here. Jimmy Manuwa, Darren Till, and Jessica I are my runner-ups for worst KO of 2019. If those are your runner-ups, what is your leader in the clubhouse, sir? Because I think Jessica I just took that leader in the clubhouse spot right there.
Talking for MMA?
Yeah. For MMA KOs. I mean, Jimmy Manuwa's was nasty too, but
that's because
Jimmy Manuwa
it was worse because he was so big.
The Jimmy Manuwa came off a setup. Valentina was just a naked kick, which is just brutal.
Yeah.
Darren Till as well. That was a nasty. Yeah. The nasty violent ends.
I would say it's between Manuwa and Jessica because Till had gotten beat up too before, so it was like a matter of time. It was like that just put him out the pasture.
If I can quote one of my favorite shows on television, Westworld, these violent delights have violent ends. My goodness, Valentina Shevchenko, beautiful execution, man. One of your notes, like you were saying before the fact, for a competitor who stood in there toe-to-toe with Amanda Nunes twice and didn't get finished, why would it be any different against Jessica I?
Yeah, if you had 125 though, not just Jessica I, what do you know you can't knock her out? If Amanda Nunes, who's knocked out Cyborg, Ronda, and Miesha Tate in the first round and sent two of them to retirement, didn't do it at 135. How can you at 125 think you remotely gonna knock her out? It's like that's one path to victory you don't know it exists.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean the betting odds reflected that as well. She was plus 700, plus 800 in some spots.
She was on that Joshua Ruiz territory.
Yeah. Well, I mean actually even higher than that. But yeah, it was crazy because I just didn't see a way that she could win the fight. And Jessica I was a fighter that was on the verge of getting kicked out of the UFC not too long ago. She had a horrific losing streak. and it
She was
wasn't
too little
looking,
for
it wasn't
135.
looking like it was any good. You know, Mario, I'm sorry, saying I thought Jessica would be stronger in the clinch, but Valentina tossed her around. Yeah, and honestly, I
underestimate how strong she is.
Exactly.
Like if you get up on her, like you see those abs, that stuff is real. And like just shaking her hand, like in a nice, like, hey, how you doing? She has a strong grip for a female. Someone was shaking her hand. Like she's legitly strong.
Yeah, she's a machine, man. She is strong. She is super strong.
Number 2 pound for pound one fighter in the world.
I guess unassumingly strong to some, and I mean, listen, she is just solid everywhere, just absolutely solid everywhere. You see that top control when Jessica was trying to back roll out of it, it just wasn't happening. No. Like Valentina just stayed heavy on.
I don't think did she have any holes in her game. Like even Amanda, the quotes, I would say her cardio is still question mark. There's no question marks in Valentina's game.
Valentina's, I don't think she has holes in her game per se. I think she has holes in her strategy sometimes. And that comes down to coaching and obviously preparation for your opponents, because sometimes she fights a little too safe. Speaking
of coaching, I know I know one of Cejudo's coaches is Eric Iverson. I don't get to call him captain, and then I don't know who the white guy is. Those dudes could be coach of the year. They've been every time this man's been in trouble, they tell him, but it's not what they tell him. It's that they got the rapport with him for him to go execute it. Because with us being cool with some of these trainers, they've told their guys what to do and they don't do it. Like Dean, he told Kyron exactly what to do. He didn't do it. So not only are they telling him what to do, right? He actually does it at this stage. So props to them. I know they're not as known as like the Deans and the our boy Javier, or even like something like Steve, but they should be in the 2018-19 mix for sure, because they keep doing this.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like he's just walking through these people. He needs his coach. He coaches them. I see the champ shirts out on the internet. Shout out to I'm actually get one.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I respect greatness, man. I respect greatness.
Yeah, they got.
But I need to get one for if DC comes out. We'll have to get DC first though. But Cejudo, he made a fan of me when he stuck out there to say something with DJ. UFC need to stop on that because he just whooped DJ's ass. I ain't stop with that. Shame on y'all.
Absolutely. And
stop with that. But that's why I knew that dude's got something that you don't, because he came back, dusted himself off, and then the TJ thing, I didn't think he was going to smoke him the way he did, but I'm not surprised that he won. And I think of people underestimating how this man likes to be in those big stages. It's the only thing to talk about it. He's ultra comfortable. Even when he was losing, he didn't panic at all. People underestimate that and they, it's not that big a deal. Shh, you get your ass on that stage and see what happened. But right time he was ready, you saw what happened. When things changed, he panicked.
Yeah, and shout out to Abraham. The way Cejudo came back in the second and turned the tide was amazing. Yeah, man, that's what it was. He had to take some time and make that adjustment. Like I said in the first round, even when Marlon was tuning him up, I said to Kendrick, who's sitting right next to me, I said he knows he has 5 rounds. He's gonna figure it out. It's gonna take some time though.
So you got to close that distance and make him fight up backwards.
I do want to tell this story because we were talking about the coaching and the evolution of Henry Cejudo. I'll tell this story because I love telling the story because it's so relevant. Yes, me and Jim Edwards. So if you're watching the stream, I'm sure you guys know who Jim Edwards is, reporter out of the UK for various outlets. Fighters Only magazine now.
Shout out.
So me and Jim, obviously, we covered the fight UFC 197 when Henry Cejudo fought Demetrius Johnson the first time. John Jones headlining that card as well. So after we finished our work, we were in the MGM Grand. We go get a bite to eat at the Wolfgang Puck restaurant in there, right? And we're just having our meal, and of course, anybody that knows that restaurant, it's open air, essentially, like the whole casino floor. Like you see everybody walking in. We're sitting like 3 tables deep, and then in walks Henry Cejudo and team. This is about 2 hours after the fight. You know, his team, like they're still in relatively good spirits, but Henry still looks devastated, still looks motivated, and we weren't gonna bother Henry. But he recognized us. We didn't have our credentials on, but he recognized us from being in the press room.
Should have phoned him.
Came up to us and had a chat with me and Jim Edwards right there in the moment. We were both kind of shocked because we were eating. And Henry, he sits with us for a second. He's like, "I know what I need to do next time. I know I can get this man." And the way he said it, like you hear that from fighters sometimes, like, "Oh, I know I got to do," but the way he said it. It made you a believer that, like, yeah, this dude has something else to him that he has another level he can achieve. And me and Jim, like, we took that moment, man. And then, of course, you fast forward. Next time he got that fight against Demetrius, got his hand raised. Fast forward to the fight against TJ. Gets his hand raised. I'm done denying Henry Cejudo, man. I thought he was going to lose this fight. He came over. I can't question the man.
I'm just mad I didn't put no money on it. That's all I'm mad about. I've been saying this. I just had a funny feeling. And one thing that I was impressed about was his strategy. A lot of people don't realize to be great, you have to have strategy and the skill power. That's what makes John Jones forgot. The fact that he's usually the best athlete in the octagon, but his strategy. And Cejudo put that today because I think wasn't that yesterday I told you we were talking. I'm like, what was my man Moraes plan B? He's gonna have to go to a plan B.
Yeah, and
had he had a plan B, he could have won. I'll give him that. Had he had a legit plan B, he probably could have won.
Well, I think he had a plan B. His problem was he just got hurt. Henry caught him in that tie clinch, and it was over. Those tie clinch knees were brutal. Yeah, not all of them found the mark. Plexus. Enough of them found the mark, and that's what it was, man.
Was that picture with Tatiana and
let's see.
You want to get to that fight?
No, we're not skipping down there yet. We're going in order, sir.
Okay.
Goodness gracious. All right, we're going to talk about the Coco main here, the people's main event. Since we got some comments about it as well. So Mario Yamasaki says...
No strategy.
Mario Yamasaki says, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way when Joe tried to take away from Tony's win by insinuating that last punch stopped the fight.
In fast motion, if you slow it down, you can tell. But first glance, you couldn't tell. I couldn't tell.
All right, let's reel it back in a little bit. Let's go back to the beginning of the fight. Right, beginning of the fight. Obviously, you could feel the tension in the air. They got the main event treatment, third billing on the card. They got Tony Ferguson got the blackout treatment on his walkout. They got the meet in the center of the octagon. You guys, you understand the rules, yada, 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 touch gloves. That's championship fight stuff. They don't do that for every fight. That's main event fight stuff. They got that treatment. And the first round absolutely delivered. I'm curious.
The whole fight delivered.
I'm curious how the chat scored the first round. Because I scored the first round for Cowboy.
Same here.
Kendra scored the first round for Cowboy. We see the scorecards. 2 judges actually scored the first round for Tony Ferguson, which is very interesting to me. Because the second round I scored for Tony. How did you score the second round?
Tony.
I also scored the second round for Tony. And all 3 judges scored the second round for Tony. So going into that third round, we had 2018, 2018, and 1919, which means that third round was that means Cowboy had to get a 10-8 or get a finish to get the win, which is crazy. He had it for Cowboy, but that's nothing new in a Tony fight. Absolutely. And the round was crazy. I tried to tweet out live things as it was happening, and it was just too much going on. It was just always going on. Yeah. Tony usually does lose the first round because he's usually warming up. He's trying to figure out the range. He's trying to get his salsa dance going a little bit, and he was working that.
I don't think he was figuring out the range today because it was more about figuring out how much he could take versus the range because it was like a rock'em sock'em from the beginning. It was Mexican style, they say in boxing, from the beginning to end.
Yeah, the crazy thing is Tony usually uses the first round. Historically, Cowboy usually loses the first round. So it's interesting to see both of them just kind of go out there and go at it like that. Second round, same thing. Madness. Just absolute madness. And then, of course, again, I was trying to tweet out everything happening. Just know it was significant strikes, spinning shit, head kicks, spinning elbows, body kicks, punch combination. Like, it was everything in the kitchen sink in the second round, right? And then the controversial moment happens. Straight to the nose. Opposite side.
They said no controversy.
Well, that part is controversial because it was after the horn. It was obviously after the horn, right? Was not the same side as the eye that puffed up on Cowboy. However, still hit him in the nose. The nose was already broken.
That's crazy.
The nose was already broken. You could see that clearly.
Check him out, man.
What? Yeah. Anybody that knows fighting, anybody that knows the fight game, whether it's boxing, whatever form of combat sport, if your nose is broken, the golden rule is never to blow your nose. And Cowboy did that a couple of times. And what immediately happened was the eye completely shut down on him. And it was crazy. Like, if anybody's never seen it before, that was a perfect example because they had that camera angle where Cowboy looked like he was like freaking out. He was like, no. He was like trying to dig his fingers in his eye to like force the air back out. kind of graphic if you don't like to watch that kind of stuff. But
it kind of highlights how people don't understand what they do between the rounds. That's what they be doing in between the rounds with that sweller.
Yeah, and
it's like it's not a big deal until it's a big deal.
Yeah. Let's see. Abraham says, no, Yamasaki said that fight was so intense. Can you really blame them? They were in the zone. Of course they were in the zone, man. This is the one thing that people are missing, though. One thing that people are missing, that as soon as Tony landed that punch, he said, my bad. And then he just swatted away the ref because he was like, get off me, ref. You know, he was like, my bad. He immediately said, my bad. But people, and you hear some boos in the crowd. I saw some tweets where people like, oh, Tony Ferguson's a piece of shit.
I like what he did in his post fight. Go on, let them boo. Go on, let them get at it.
Exactly. Yeah, the crowd booing that. I mean, I get you were robbed of the third round in a fight where we were already robbed of 2 rounds because that should have been a 5-round fight. This fight headlines any other card.
No, yeah, it does headline like any other card, but I think that made it more because that's why they have to start from the go. It wasn't no feeling out.
I don't think there would be a feeling out even if it was 5. I think it would have been 5 rounds of that until somebody broke. It would have been 5 rounds of that madness. Yeah, it would have been crazy. So kind of like what's next? I mean, Abraham here is kind of hinting at it. I think Tony versus Conor would be a big fight, almost as big as Conor versus Khabib.
I think I keep telling everybody. I think Tony could be Khabib and Conor could be Tony because if he get him hurt, he's not gonna ease off the gas. And I haven't seen Conor not let anybody off the hook when he hurts him. And Tony's ego is gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you at your own game, Conor."
I don't think Conor versus Tony would be a good fight. I don't. I'm sorry. I think Conor breaks again. The way Tony Ferguson puts pressure on you and keeps coming, no matter how many times you hit him, he's still going to keep coming. He will be bloodied and busted open, and he's still going to keep coming. Name one time you've seen Conor do that. Anytime the pressure gets turned up on Conor, Conor breaks. If Conor isn't just one exception in the Chad Mendes fight.
That fight.
I was there too. I was in the arena.
He told Chad Mendes before it happened, if you let me up, I'm gonna knock your white ass out.
Yeah.
3 minutes later.
Yes. Conor.
We were both
braved the storm one time. He braved the storm one time, and I mean he did in the second Nate Diaz fight too. So that's kind of unfair as well. Conor will, but like when the guys have just unrelenting pressure,
he's not ready for that.
He's not ready for Khabib pressure, or he doesn't show up for Khabib pressure. That is what Tony Ferguson brings, man. That is what Tony Ferguson brings. And I agree with you, Yamasaki. If Tony Ferguson does not get a title shot, I don't know what we're doing when we're talking about meritocracy in this sport. This is what, 12 fights in a row? 12 wins in a row? When he had the interim title and never lost the interim title and was never given an opportunity to unify?
Why do people get mad about meritocracy when there's one person calling the shots? And it's like how things almost like an undercover dictatorship.
Because he tries to play it off as you're living in a real sport. Yeah. You have championships. You're trying to claim a real sport. Oh man, it's messed up, dude. It's messed up. You got to do better with this, man. We got to have something.
I agree with you. We definitely need more to it. But it's like the deal, so it's like when Fidel Castro was running Cuba. You knew the deal, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and listen, Tony Ferguson, man, absolutely deserves a title shot. Cowboy deserves a payday. Yeah, I agree with that as well, man. I agree with that as well. You know, the only other fight, if Tony Ferguson is not getting a title shot after this fight, the only fight I will accept is this rematch. It's the only one I will accept. The only one I accept. I will write a strongly worded letter to Dana White. Or strongly worded tweet. And knowing Dana White, he will reply. No, but, I mean, listen. Hell of a fight, man. Like I said, run it back. I'm fine with that. But if not, Tony Ferguson must be in a title fight. And I know we got Dustin and Khabib coming up in Abu Dhabi. So that fight, listen, Tony didn't really get hurt in this fight. So maybe he will want to get back in there after a personally tough year for him. Maybe he want to get in there and earn another payday. And if that's against Cowboy, depending on how quickly this eye heals up, cool. But yeah, I don't know who else he fights. I mean, sure, put him in there against Conor. It'll be a big fight for both of them. I just don't want to see it because I know that outcome, I think. You know,
I keep telling you, you're that's Ray Connor, man.
Nate Diaz versus Tony wouldn't be too bad either. Yeah, that's a good point. I actually wouldn't be mad at that fight.
He beats him because he's the long layoff. You can't just come off your couch and beat Tony Ferguson.
And Abraham says he doesn't want to see a rematch because Cowboy didn't have an answer for Tony's pressure.
He didn't.
I think we were starting to see that unfold. Yeah, I can't completely disagree. I can't completely agree with that. Because again, Cowboy is also a guy who gets better the longer the fight goes on, right?
Right.
So I don't know. It's tough. But I'm still gutted we were robbed of that final round, man. Obviously an unfortunate injury. But hey, damage accumulation is part of the fight game. And if you get your nose cracked, I mean, what can you do? So that's that, man. Let's move on to the fight before that.
Are we going down the whole main card?
Maybe if the chat wants us to go through the whole card, we're gonna go through the whole card. But let's skip to one I know you want to talk about. Miss Tatiana Suarez,
friend of the show.
She will be on the podcast here in a couple of weeks. Hint, hint. Shout out to everybody watching the live chat. She will be on our podcast in 2 weeks. I'm trying to find some tweets about it on the YouTube or on the Twitter here from UFC. Yeah. Good performance for Tatiana through rounds 1 and 2. Through rounds 1 and 2. Round 3, she kind of let off the gas pedal a little bit. Or Nina, I don't know if it was a combination of her letting off the gas pedal.
Nina made some adjustments.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I don't know.
Somebody waited a little too long, man. That's a prime example.
Which one was it? Was it that she let off the gas pedal or that Nina made the adjustments? I'm going to give Nina the benefit of the doubt because she's a hell of a fighter in this situation. I'm going to say she made the appropriate adjustments and then started finding her chin like she did in the last 30 seconds or so of that fight. She rocked Tatiana and had her hurt.
And a little inside information, I talked to Miss Suarez after the fight via text, and she's gonna be going through some observations and stuff. She had a neck injury. I don't know how severe it is yet. I'll probably catch up with the next couple of days, but she did injure her neck. I think she said the first round. I don't know what happened or what because I didn't get a specific, but she definitely is gonna be out for a little while. She wasn't 100% that third round to her credit.
Yeah, and that's that's part of the reason why I think the fight also unfolded the way it did.
Yeah,
unfortunately for her, but Tatiana was a little exposed. Yeah, man, it's kind of tough knowing that she was injured in the first round. Now you kind of have to look at the whole fight a little bit differently.
True, but like I said, the hands got to get a little bit better. I like some Tatiana, but somebody that way you saw Dina's hand game is probably a little bit above average. How much it gave problems.
It is.
So if you get somebody kind of like a Jessica I, but at 115, that relentless got some hands, that will give her problems because
not a problem for her right now though.
Huh?
That's not a problem for her right now. Though. Her next problem is Jessica Andrade, and Jessica Andrade is not a
she's gonna come
she's
with
not a
power.
Slick boxer. She's got power. She swings hooks like John Lineker, but she's not a technical striker like that. She will just come in and try to blitz you. That will be an interesting fight from the clinch perspective, but we'll see. Nina ground game prevented Tatiana to do any punishing ground and pound, and I think that wore Tatiana out. And if the fight was a 5-rounder, I see Nina beating her in the 4th. I tell you what, the way the end of the 3rd ended, Abraham, I cannot disagree.
She didn't get saved by the bell.
Yeah. But again, we got to take into account. We got to take the last third. We got to take that 3rd round. We got to even take the 2nd round with a grain of salt, considering that she was injured. Like she was legitimately injured in that 1st round. We find that out after the fact, but she kept the good poker face on. She was still. I scored the 2nd round at 10-8. I scored the 2nd round at 10-8. I mean, especially under the new rules. The new rules, you're supposed to be liberal with 10-8s because it's supposed to be more definitive. Nina had 0 offense in the 2nd round, outside of the first 10 seconds when they were on the feet. So, but yeah, Tatiana also didn't do any damaging ground and pound, per se. But, I mean, hey, you got to do something offensively, right? Yeah, that's how you score in these new rules.
That's how I was going to say I got 10-8 because she never did. She never had her in danger.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about danger, though. It's not about danger. It's about dominating control. And if you're able to compete or completely dominate your opponent for the entirety of the round, that's a 10-8 round. It's not about finishing damage under these new rules.
Way too liberal.
That's how the new rules work, though. That's what I'm saying. That's how these new rules are literally written.
But how come we don't see on the official cards that them hand them out like candy? Like
again, one thing I will say,
like I do on MMA decisions.
No, like I will say, I don't know if we were under the new rules or not in Chicago. I mean, that's one of those things where I'm sick of having to ask that question every single night, every single weekend. What rule set are we under? What rule set are we under? And then half the time nobody knows.
The thing is, like, when is it going to become universal? It's like 18 months since all that. So how many months is enough?
Jessica Andrade is the champ of the strawweight division right now. Mr. Yamasaki. She just beat Rose Namajunas for it a couple weeks ago.
Dropped on her head, literally.
Yeah, brutal slam, man. Brutal slam. So that was that, man. Yeah, Tatiana's injury raises the most important question, and obviously I think answers the most important question coming out of that fight.
Who's next? Who's
next for Jessica Andrade? And I think Michelle Waterson may get to jump the queue. If you look at the rankings, she's still a little bit down there. I think she was 7th. Let me pull it up real quick just to be. I don't want to be incorrect on that, but I think she was 7th. And obviously Tatiana was coming into this fight ranked number 2, right? Let's see. Rankings.
Nina was 3.
Nina was 3. Tatiana was 2, and Michelle is number 7. So there's been a lot of talk about Michelle jumping the queue to get that next crack at the title. I mean, listen, number 1, Rose Namajunas just lost the title. Obviously, Nina just lost. Joanna is fighting at 125.
Do you think
Claudia lost
down
recently.
To fight somebody she's beaten before? I can see her doing that.
I could definitely see Joanna putting in a couple of calls to say, hey, you want to run that one back? Jessica Andrade?
And we were there.
Get my title back?
we were there, too. We saw that one live here in Dallas. That was, to me, Joanna's probably second best performance as champion. Her best was when she got the belt, when she put them hands on Esparza, but she looked like a female Lomachenko that night. Her footwork and technique was phenomenal.
Yes. Her overall performance, yes, but her true championship performance to me was that Claudia fight. In Vegas.
I said that one too.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we were talking about that earlier. I think that's the last time I seen somebody come back that was down 0-2 on a cart and win the fight.
Exactly. Championship.
I was there. Matter of fact, that's when we birthed the Slip and Dip podcast.
Making adjustments, championship fashion, accelerating as the fight went on. That was a beautiful performance right there. Yeah. Let's see. Mario says Jessica Andrade wrecks Tatiana. I don't know about wrecks her, man, because that fight's going to end up in the clinch, and I don't know what that clinch game looks like.
I think Tatiana's reach is going to give her problems.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds, man. It really is. It's really going to be interesting. Let's see. Abraham says, I see Waterson beating Andrade. Her striking is slick, and I feel her coaches will put together a great game plan for it.
That'll be a competitive fight.
100% agree with the coaching and the game plan. That is Jackson Wink to a T. That is what they do at Jackson Wink, man. They come up with these amazing game plans, and Michelle is like a sponge for that. She will stick to game plans. She is a technician through and through, right? Everything she does is with perfect technique, whether it be that head and arm throw she gets literally every fight. How her opponents are consistently getting caught by this head and arm throw is amazing to me, because she's much smaller than them, but she uses the technique perfectly every time, and is able to toss, dig that hip into their body, drag them on over, control them on the ground for a little bit, and then those side kicks, those kicks to keep them at distance. She's a scrapper, man. She's a technical scrapper. Michelle Waterson, Jessica Andrade would be a hell of a fight. However, I think once that clinch game happens, and if Jessica Andrade is able to get a hold of her and start tossing her around a little bit, I think things get a little interesting. But it'd be a hell of a fight. I'd be down for it. I'm not opposed to it. I will say that much. Yeah. I did see a comment a second ago about the Jimmy Rivera fight. So let me get to that real quick.
Jimmy, I think his best days are behind him.
I think his best days are behind him.
Yeah.
I disagree with you. Sir. The reason why I disagree with you is because, I know he's on a losing streak right now, right? Here's the thing, and I know you can't just do this. You can't just do this, obviously, because this would obviously change the outcome of a ton of fights. But if you watch,
you stretch it, dude.
I'm just saying. This indicates that Jimmy Rivera is not washed. Okay,
No,
because
between me and Wash, I'm not saying he should quit the sport. Just he's not going to be a champion.
Let me get to my point. If you take away the last 30 seconds of every round in this fight, Jimmy Rivera wins that fight. He was winning the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the first round, winning the 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the second round, and then he gets clipped. So you got to take out these 2 instances of getting clipped in the first 2 rounds. You win the fight. He's absolutely a beast, and I don't think he will get cut by any means. He is a competitor. He is a beast, Mario. I agree. However, you got to figure out it's a simple adjustment. I think it's kind of like the Cody Garbrandt thing. I don't believe Cody Garbrandt's washed. Cody Garbrandt gets this thing where he's like, okay, I got to start diving at dudes like once I get tagged, and just goes berserker mode.
Berserker mode.
Not that Jimmy Rivera is doing this, but Jimmy Rivera, he's getting tagged and getting dropped in like these exchanges where he's winning the exchanges for 4 minutes and 30 seconds of the round, and then all of a sudden one gets through and he's on his back. Simple adjustments to me. Simple adjustments to me.
His his days for fighting for a belt over with. So he won't get that shot.
Maybe. How old is Jimmy Rivera?
30.
How old is Jimmy Rivera, people? I don't know. Let me see. Let me type this up. I'm sorry for the clicking keyboard.
The sport there. He's still a world class athlete. He's just not a world champion. There's levels to this, as Mr. Cejudo proved today.
Jimmy Rivera is how old? I am Googling right now, people. Sorry I don't have this information in my vast knowledge of MMA fighters' ages. 29. He can still make a comeback. He can still make a comeback. It's 2 in a row. Lost to Aljo. Lost 3 of his last 4. I mean, beat John Dodson, unanimous decision, and of course he lost to the guy that just lost to the champ in Marlon Moraes before that. But I don't think he's done.
I say he was done. I say he's not fighting for championships.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to call the man to retire.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
You know, when I do say that, people listen. Shout out Jimmy Manawa.
I see what you're saying. What other fights do you want to talk about on this card? Anybody in the chat, let us know what other fights on this card you want us to talk about. Aljamain Sterling, I do want to mention him. Fantastic performance from Aljo.
But do you really think he's going to win the belts? I don't think. I think he should get a shot, but I don't think he's going to do nothing with it.
I'm down. I tell you what, I'm down for Aljo versus Henry Cejudo. And script brings me to my other thing. I thought Henry Cejudo was about to spit some fire when he said, "I got a hit list, Joe Rogan." Yeah, I want Uriah Faber.
What? What?
But the other two, you're saying he fighting for legacy. He don't want that to beat him down. If he beats them two, he beats the Garbrandts and the Cruzes. He is the man at 135 of all time. He had beaten all 3 former champions, and the only person that can lay claim, and he can walk off.
Okay. At this point, they're all names on the resume.
Hey, that's why we keep resumes.
It's all about relevant resumes.
Nah,
relevant resumes.
It don't look like when they have somebody like there's nobody sitting and saying Amanda Nunes. She fought Ronda when she was almost basically washed up mentally.
Yes.
This shit was on her way out. Like nobody puts that. You just like boom.
That's what people are doing to Jared Cannonier when he's got Anderson Silva on his record.
Yeah, they do that to me.
Okay, thank you for proving my point. Thank you for proving my point, sir.
But that man's fighting a senior citizen though, bruh. These dudes are in their 30s.
What is your favor?
But I'm not taking Favor out the equation. He's basically retired. I know he's coming back, but I'm talking about Garbrandt and Dillashaw, former champion. Plus, Uriah didn't get the belt in UFC. So
Aljamain Sterling is next, according to the rankings. He's next.
Cejudo beats him.
The champ right now is Henry Cejudo. They're trying to update it right now, I think, as we speak.
Yeah,
on the UFC website because there's no picture there. They're trying to update it at this very moment as we're live on the internet.
But one thing,
it's
people
hilarious.
Don't you agree with this too though? That people don't realize how much of a gamer, aka big fighter, that Cejudo is. They don't realize it's not just his skills. He likes that stage. He come out there and be corny and have y'all people, what's he doing? Is this going? It don't matter. He shows up on Saturday and whoop ass and have you talking about him still with all his quirkiness. It didn't bother me.
So we were talking about.
That didn't bother me this week. I don't know why people was reading into that.
Dude, like I was saying, man.
They read into the wrong thing. Reading into that dude putting them 2 pieces and making adjustments and putting that man in deep water and getting them 2 belts. That's what you need to read into.
Like I was saying, embrace the cringe. Embrace the cringe. Embrace the king of cringe.
Though
it is cringy as fuck. You know it is, but embrace it. Embrace
it's goofy,
the cringe.
but not a stretch.
It's goofy.
It's definitely goofy.
It's funny because he knows he's doing it on purpose. He's doing it to get the
talking
reaction.
about him.
And exactly, he knows what he's doing. He's being cringy on purpose. Let's see. Unemployed Mario Yamasaki. Sterling isn't really anything special.
What's special?
He said he's not doesn't do anything special. He seems a bit average.
Who?
Aljo, talking about Aljo. Aljo's just got a funky style, man. He's just got a funky style. He does a lot of things really well, but because he's got this funky style where he's moving a little awkward, he's got his arms all over the place.
Not a world champion.
I think he could. I think he's very capable of beating Cejudo. I think he's
capable.
very
I
capable.
give a shout out saying like he just gonna walk.
I tell you what. If you watch the fight tonight with Aljamain, it did not look like a typical Aljamain Sterling fight because he didn't use his wrestling at all because his leg was hurt, so he couldn't drive through a takedown. I think if the leg is 100% against Henry, I think we see an interesting styles clash of wrestling. But Aljamain is significantly better when it comes to submission game. #human backpack, Aljamain Sterling. Be very interesting. I think it'll be an interesting fight. I'm not saying that Aljo would wash Henry. I'm not saying Henry would wash Aljo. I think it'd be an interesting fight. And I don't think it would be a fight where either guys just kind of go at each other like we saw Marlon and Henry kind of trade like that. I know we did see a little bit of that out of Aljo tonight. He was standing in the pocket trading against Pedro.
But he knew that dude couldn't hurt him.
Yeah.
I wonder if somebody could hurt him if he does that. And props to Henry's chin. I didn't realize I knew he had a good chin, but his stuff is great. Because he was eating a couple of those Moraes bombs that people haven't been talking about, living to talk about.
Yeah. Abraham, we will get to this question in 1 second. I think if you're going by meritocracy, if meritocracy means a damn thing anymore in the sport,
my friend,
Aljamain Sterling is next.
Why you keep acting like this?
I'm just saying, Aljamain Sterling is next.
You think you watching a Big Four sport, don't you?
Aljamain Sterling is next. Don't tell me I'm supposed to be watching a Big Four sport and then do, backwoods stuff when you're trying to convince people that you are a Big Four sport. So if you are convincing me and everybody watching your product that you are a Big Four sport by being on ESPN,
but that's the
international leader, don't tell me that you don't have any meritocracy when Aljamain Sterling, who is ranked number third, ranked number 3 right now.
I see what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing, but you don't have to buy what they're selling, though. You too can change your mind and they just talking noise. They just talking shit and keep it moving. You not buy into it. What you're saying is 1,000% correct, but you don't have to buy into it.
True.
Just like why do everybody think everybody has to have a storyline? Like, what if Henry Cejudo was just some regular dude that was getting picked on and started fighting, had no Olympic medal? Oh, he really don't got a good of a story. Why do you have to have a story to whoop people ass at a high level? I don't get that. I guess because I cover boxing as well. Most of those dudes are from the hood. They fighting so they can get money and get their people out the hood. That's it. Story in the story.
Yeah,
but it's not as exciting for TV. But MMA, it's like you gotta have a story.
You don't have to. That's just part of the story. Now, I want to address this question. Abraham asks, "Do you feel Henry ever coming back down to flyweight? I don't see any fight for him there that's worth it for him." Abraham, I think we saw the death of the flyweight division tonight. Tonight, and for a few weeks, Henry gets to call himself a champ, and then I would say a month from now, we will see Dana White at the podium like he is right now at this post-fight press conference saying the flyweight division is done. I think it's gone away. There's literally only 10 flyweight fighters on the roster right now. So I think that is the death, he signed the death warrant tonight.
That's why Dana is on the podium.
Henry
which
Cejudo,
he never does no more.
He always does it at pay-per-view.
A pay-per-view, okay. It's been a while.
Yeah. Flyweight division's dead tonight. It's dead. There's no more flyweight division after tonight. If there is, and if Henry Cejudo ever does cut down to 125, which if anybody doesn't know, I'm sure everybody does, the cut to 125 for Henry Cejudo is brutal. So him getting wins at 135 will make that cut a lot less desirable, especially considering he's going to get paid more to fight at 135.
He called Daly saying he want that money. He said he want that heavyweight money.
So the flyweight division is just dead. It's dead where it stands right now with the 10 fighters on the roster. And that's what it's at. I know the rankings still show 12 right here on the rankings. But yeah, it's over. It's over for the flyweights. It's done. And yeah. It's done for the flyweights. It sucks. It sucks for the flyweights because
why am I so sad about it though? It wouldn't like
because they had some of the most exciting fights in the promotion's history. Multiple fight of the nights, multiple performance bonuses, but because the UFC decided not to promote the division in any way, shape, or form when they had the most dominant champion ever,
there was no buzz around it
because they never gave fans a reason to. You never gave your flyweights the promotion. You never gave Demetrius Johnson the promotion when he deserved it. So, you know, hey, yes, a fighter has to want to do all the extra things as well, but UFC also, you can promote the fighter without the fighter, you know, wanting to be promoted at the same time. What about Cejudo wanting to move up to featherweight? That's a stretch for me. Who is your featherweight champion, ladies and gentlemen?
He don't want those problems.
Max Blessed Holloway is your champion at 145.
Ain't no adjustments gonna be able to make that difference up, bro. Now, I like you, Henry, but there's not enough adjustments for you on that one. Stay in your lane.
Yeah, I don't
ain't enough adjustments for you.
I don't see that move to 145 working out too well because, again, if he wants to move up to 145, he's going to want to go up to 145 for a title fight. And if it's Max Holloway who just fought at 155.
And then get knocked out.
Yeah, and who walks around at like 170, 180.
Yeah.
This Max Holloway, ladies and gentlemen, this is the 145-pound champ, Max Holloway, could not take a short notice fight against Khabib because he was too big at 155. That's how much weight your 145-pound champ cuts to make 145. Walking around, he could not take a fight on a week's notice against the champion, a weight class above his champion, the division where he holds the title. Which leads into a whole other discussion about weight cutting I don't want to get into tonight. But that's just what it is.
Good old Valentina's at the podium, looking like the Stone Cold Killer that she is.
Absolutely.
Killer, K-I-L-L-A.
Valentina's a machine.
Not to be messed with.
Like I tweeted out earlier tonight, since they're on ESPN now, I want them to redo that Albert Pujols commercial. You remember that? You know how ESPN used to do the little funny commercials with athletes?
Yeah, I remember Albert Pujols.
Albert Pujols.
Talking about this is Sports Center commercials?
Yeah.
I never
Albert Pujols was at the copier, whatever. And I forget how the whole thing is unfolded, but the line was, "I'm not a machine, I'm just Albert." I want to see Valentina remake that. "I'm not a machine, I'm just Valentina." In her accent.
Pops to her with her 3 different languages in the post fight. She's making sure everybody got some love. Espanol, he with English and some Russian.
Yeah, she's a beast.
She said take all that.
She's a beast, man. Incredible card, man, through and through, though. I watched pretty much all the fights. I had to miss a couple in between. But
you missed the 2 that I saw. I saw the Angela Hill fight, which was a good fight. The Japanese lady got with her in the last 2 minutes when the money was on the table. It was a very close fight.
Yeah.
Like, it was basically neck and neck for 13 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good night of fights, man. Good night of fights. We will talk about this Triple G fight that went down.
Oh, yeah. Possible G, another win. Hopefully, I can go on, since we're going live, I'll go and put it out there. Triple G Canelo 3 will be right in here first, September. Go get my exact date. September 14th. Location will be determined. Hopefully, for personal reasons, it's right here in Dallas, Texas at Cherry World. That part's not confirmed, but they will fight September 14th.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that, man.
I don't know where. I wish I would know where. I still be putting it on Twitter and everything. I don't want to be wrong like the rest of these folks.
Yeah, and I mean, this was a fight, Triple G. Like, not a lot of people.
That brother, though, was funny, though, because he knew he had no shot. Rose knew he had no shot. He was trying.
Nobody expected this to be a challenge for Triple G. And I mean, the first couple of rounds, whatever, you get warmed up, and then of course it was always gonna end like
that little chop head, set the uppercut.
Yeah. Abraham asks, do you think UFC will cut Angela Hill? Interesting question.
No, she stepped up she helped them out.
Yeah, she's taking a couple of short notice fights.
And that fight was a hell of a fight.
She's taken a couple of short notice fights for them recently,
and she's entertained.
This was her third fight this year. I don't think they cut her. I think they give her another opportunity. She's never in a boring fight. But it always kind of conflicts with what Dana says, right? When Dana's like, I just want people that are going to be future champions. I just want people that, when really what that's Dana speak for saying, I want you to be marketable and I want you to be exciting. That's what he's saying when he says that. So no, I don't think Angela Hill will get cut. I think she's still got a good little run in her. So we'll see. Let me see how old she is.
Angela Hill's older. She's 34.
Yeah, I know she's been around for a while. Angie Overkill. Angie has personality, man. She's personality. She's marketable. She's 9-7 overall in her career. That's the only thing that kind of hurts her right now. Yeah, she's 33. But yeah, I mean, look at her record, man. I mean, it's not the best record in the world.
It's like she basically alternates win-loss.
And most of her fights are decisions. But I think she's just entertaining enough to stay around. You know, she's been in some wars, man. Been in some wars. I was at that fight against Jessica Andrade. Crazy fight. That was in Houston, man, during Super Bowl weekend. Crazy fight. But yeah, she's exciting. She doesn't have the ability to get anybody out of there, unfortunately. So that will always hold her back. But
good fighter, not champion.
Yeah, good fighter. Fighter. She's got some marketability. She's entertaining. She's funny as hell. One of the best follows on Twitter from a fighter.
Wakanda.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, she always does a little cosplay thing, doing her thing. But yeah, I don't think she gets cut. I think she's good. She gets more opportunities. I think she does. So that's where we're at there. What else from this card? What else? Anything else pressing? We've been on this chat for almost an hour.
We thought we was going to do 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, but we were like, yeah, let's go ahead and hop on live for a little bit. An hour later, we're still here talking about fights, which is no problem because this is why I don't like doing live things, man, because when we go live and then we get the chat rolling, like I will be here all night, which is fine. I don't mind talking fights, man. I just lose track of time.
Look for the next Flipping It podcast, episode 102.
Yeah,
we're going to have Brandon Adams, who will be fighting on Jamal Charlo in 2 weeks in Houston. That's the bigger Charlo case. I won the one that fights at 160 in Canelo's division. We'll also have Cynthia Calvillo. Definitely got a lot of talk with her division. She might get that call. We might not even know.
Yeah.
And then we also we'll have a special guest, a reality star. I call him Nelly T. Nelson Thomas from MTV fame. He's into boxing and MMA. Get his takes on stuff and just trying to expand the show. He got a little different angle what nobody else is doing because, as you know, everybody wants to talk about people getting hit in the face.
Yeah, of course. So let's see. We got some more questions rolling in. Glad to take all the questions.
Yeah, all the questions.
So let's see.
Please subscribe too if you have to know.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button.
Tell your friends about the show.
Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like.
Because we're not just rolling. We growing. Yeah.
Smash the like. Hit the subscribe button. If you're feeling benevolent, hit those links to the Cash App. Hit those links to the Venmo. We would appreciate that.
Help us grow the show.
Every
dollar counts.
Question. Let me take a little sip of water here. Another question for our man Abraham in the chat. Do you feel like Valentina's division is a little weak? So let's look at Valentina's division as the ranking stands currently today. Number 1 just got taken out, Jessica Ai in brutal fashion. Caitlin Chukagian just won a close decision in the curtain jerker. I said this at the very, very beginning of the fight card tonight. I can't recall any other time in the UFC's history where the winner of the very first fight on a pay-per-view then went on to get a title shot next. Usually these are fights that are either on the main card or in a feature prelim spot where the winner of that will be getting a title shot. Can you recall one? No? Okay, I can't either. Is the division a little weak? I think the division is a little young, per se, in a lot of ways, because you still have ladies still trying to figure out how their bodies operate at 125, because they've either been fighting at 115 or they've been fighting at 135. So they're still trying to find their ground.
And you got the experience of, like, you got somebody like Shahagan, Carmouche, that's Maxim Anafari, that's got a little mileage on their bodies. Or even that girl, Joanna, got mileage on their body. And then you got up-and-comers like her girl, KGB, Montana Stewart. I know she's so far away. Macy Barber, she's already in top 15. That's getting new. That can be, we don't know what they're going to be 2 years from today. They could be future champion, or it could be, okay, she was a has-been.
Yeah, Abraham says there seems to be a big skill gap between Valentina and the rest of her division.
That's because of her. Now, that's props to her. That's not the division. That's just she was a nanosecond from being champion 135. Let's not forget about that. And she's been in the cage with Amanda Nunes. Let me do a quick math in my head for 25 for 40 minutes, and we got Cyborg, Ronda, and Misha that have been in there combined 3. That's how tough she is right there.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I agree and I disagree that the division's weak, because it's only weak when you consider can they take the champ out. That was the thing that I always said about Demetrius Johnson when he was running flyweights. Everybody's like, "Oh, the division's weak." Like, the division isn't weak. It's just that nobody can beat the champ. You know, and that's one thing. But yeah, there are a lot of older names at 125 right now that are on the rankings. Roxanne Modafferi is a little bit older. Liz Carmouche is a little bit older. Joanne Calderwood just took an L tonight. Alexis Davis is older. And these are
Joanna's been beaten by the champ, and she's got miles on her body, so she's an old 31.
And these are all fighters that I don't see improving anymore either. Exactly. They are what they are at this point. Now, however, you have fighters that are still improving, that are still on their way up, and number 10, Andrea Lee, and number 11, Montana De La Rosa. And I hate that fight is happening right now, because somebody's got to lose and somebody's got to take out the challenger, right? Which is unfortunate. I wish that they were both matched up against some of the names higher up above them. Now, Macy Barber, still way too young to tell about her. Paige Van Zandt is hurt.
She might be retired.
Yeah, Paige doesn't have to fight. You know, when Dana said that thing earlier this week,
I didn't get this. You watched the videos. I didn't even watch Embedded. You kind of got discouraged. I was gonna watch it every day. You like, I watch it at the end, and then yesterday I was thinking about, like,
I watched them all at the end, man.
See, I like watching them daily. They kind of give me crunk as the fight go on. I'm about to start doing that, but I didn't do it this week, and I was crunk about the card though.
Yeah. No, so Dana White was talking to Aaron Bronstetter, CSN, good dude, friend of the show, been on the show, one of my favorite guys to hang out with during fight weeks as well. He talked to Dana about a couple of different things, and then Dana mentions he wished Sage Northcutt should retire. And this, keep in mind, this is literally after he just gets through talking about BJ Penn and saying he doesn't want BJ Penn to fight anymore. Obviously, the answer to that is don't give BJ Penn any more fights, and BJ Penn won't fight in the UFC anymore. Seems like a simple solution, right? But his reasoning was, hey, the words literally out of his mouth were, this is a young man's game. And then in the very next topic on Sage Northcutt, he says Sage Northcutt should retire. Sage Northcutt is like, what, 23?
22.
He's 23?
Yes, sir.
Sage Northcutt is 23 years old. He's still improving as a fighter. He's still filling out holes in his game. He's still not a complete product yet. So you want that guy to retire just because he's very marketable. Obviously, you understand the marketability in Sage Northcutt. That's why you paid him 40 and 40 when he first stepped foot in the door of the UFC. Pissing off all sorts of fighters on the roster. But yeah, so that was a little off base, man. That was just something that got under my skin a little bit. Like, why? Like, you cut the guy and then tell him you should retire after he gets KO'd against easily his toughest competition so far in his career, and his first fight in a boxing ring, in a kickboxing ring. Like, that's his first fight in a ring. The dynamics of that versus a cage are completely different. And if people don't understand that, please do a little bit of research on that, because it's completely different.
That ain't why he lost, though.
It had a very huge effect on it, because you're moving around the ring.
Because usually they wouldn't know.
Yes, because you get pinned in the corner. You don't realize you're getting pinned in the corner. You try to ring, like, when you're in a cage.
No clinch, though, really.
It doesn't matter when you're in a cage.
It does matter. He clinches.
When you're in a cage, it's more of a circle. It's more of a circular pattern. So as you're circling, you feel that you can just keep circling. When you're in a ring, you can't circle. Like all of a sudden, there's ropes right here. I can't keep going that way. So that's why you see him as he's moving, he kind of hesitates and then plow, just gets blasted. Broke 19 bones in his face or whatever it was. Crazy. Dude, his face was jacked up. All the way jacked up.
So
and I forgot what the question was.
Mayweather knew what he was doing, I think, too, what he was doing then all those years. Not getting cut.
Yeah, I forgot what the question was. I don't even know. What were we talking about before I got on that little Dana rant? I don't even know.
You're talking about the division of flyweights, women.
Flyweight division, yeah. Yeah, man.
Martina's just that damn good.
Yeah.
She's like a real Triple H.
Yeah, I think I was talking about like Macy Barber, her being too young to know where she is right now.
Too young.
I know she's got that thing where she wants to be like the youngest champion and ever and all that stuff, and all that's great. That's motivation, but
she's not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how she evolves. Again, she's gonna show new wrinkles every time she steps in there.
And if somebody said she can get down to 115, if she can do that, she might.
I disagree with that. I think she has a better shot at 125.
You think? I think if 115 is better, I don't think she can make it though.
Because the names you would fight at 115, you have more fighters that are still improving, I think, versus the higher ranked flyweights are fighters that
if you look at
what they are at this point.
But if you look at the top 10,
agree or disagree, I don't know.
At the top 10 at 115, Tatiana's improving. Nina is, but really isn't. Joanna isn't. Claudia isn't.
Two beasts.
Zhang, she's improving.
Yep.
Michelle's improving. Tisha's digressing. Carla's not improving. And
Carla is improving. Carla is improving. Come on now.
Nah.
Just because she lost to Thabib does not mean she's not improving.
Was she lost to her 2 years ago? No.
Yes.
Cynthia's improving.
Thabib's just better. Sorry.
Cynthia's improving.
Carolina's not improving. Cynthia is improving. Felice is.
She's her ACL.
She's what she is. Alexa. She just won tonight. I don't know. She's weird. She's in a weird spot.
Alexa, Randa, and Courtney are all in the Angela category. Too.
They're in the weird spot.
They're in the Angela
Randa's actually on a nice little run right now. Randa's nice. Randa's been showing a lot of good things lately.
But when you see her fight, you say that's a future champion. I'll see it.
I like this question, Abraham. I do like this question. How do you feel about Chris Weidman announcing that he's moving up to 125?
Try to get him on the show.
205.
I got to talk to Wonder Boy tomorrow. I'm trying to get both of them on the show.
Chris Weidman is moving up to 205. That's going to be crazy.
I think it'll benefit him for the weight cut because he was big. He was always big. He even talked about moving up to light heavyweight, fighting John when he was a champion. So this is not out the blue as people think if you really pay attention to his career.
Yeah. No, I'm not mad at it at all. I actually like it. Anybody that watches or that knows my thing on MMA is that I hate weight cutting. I wish everybody was fighting at their natural weight. Whatever you weigh when you're doing 2-a-days in the gym, when you're already on a diet to be in good shape, what do you weigh then? That's what you should be fighting at. We've had fighters tell us that on this podcast when we do this podcast every week.
We hear a podcast talking about, people on the podcast talking about, yeah, man, I know I'm losing some years off my life. Like they say it so casually.
Paul Felder, quote, I feel I fight best at 170. Paul Felder fights at 155. I mean, it's just a thing. Do you think that they'll make Luke versus Chris 2 at 205?
Luke who?
Luke Rockhold, because he is also going to be fighting there. Possibly. I would be up for that, depending on how Chris. I don't want that to be the first fight, obviously. I want to see what they both look like at 205 against other opponents. If they both go out there and get wins, cool. I think the difference will be, though, is that if Luke Rockhold goes out there and gets a win at 205, they're going to get him in there against John Jones as quick as possible. And that will also knock off contender for.
But don't you think like somebody like Weidman and Rockhold, they're moving up maybe because they're in that mid-30 range when your body starts changing that they can't make it 185 no more comfortably.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's tough. They're both in tough spots, really.
Former champions with no homes.
Yeah, I mean, hell, they both had hell of careers for sure.
Yeah, both future Hall of Famers.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's a possibility of that fight happening, but it depends on what happens with Luke Rockhold's first fight at 205. Because if he wins and looks impressive, yeah, he's getting that shot at John Jones, assuming John Jones get past Thiago Santos. which a lot of people expect that to happen.
Yeah, well, we saw last week. Anything can happen.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that, man. I think it's time to wrap this thing up, man. We've been at it for over an hour. We appreciate everybody rocking with us in the chat. Tomorrow we will be recording episode 102 of the Slip and Dip podcast with multiple interviews that Kendrick just mentioned again a few minutes ago. So we would appreciate it if you guys would check that video out as soon as it drops. It'll be out Monday morning. We're going to be doing a premiere of it. I think we're going to set the time around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. 9 or 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So obviously if you are subscribed to the channel and you click that bell for your notifications, you'll know when the show is dropping. And I will be in the chat to respond to your comments about it, whatever have you. Kendrick may or may not be. Kendrick's got some things to do. But we'll see. So thanks for hanging out with us. Abraham, appreciate the comments. Unemployed Mario Yamasaki, appreciate the comments. Love the name. I love the troll MMA names. They're hilarious. So yeah, thanks for rocking with us, guys.
Get your friends to come next time so we can go to the show and do this thing.
Exactly. We will do more of these.
We'll do more of these throughout the week. If y'all can help us grow the audience, we're definitely there. Y'all here for us. We're here for you.
100%. Yes, UFC 238, hell of a fight card. Can't wait for the next installment of the UFC drama show. And the next installment of the Triple G drama show, which may be against Canelo. Big drama show. Big drama show. I'm with it.
As somebody who didn't see 1 and 2 in person, seeing number 3 in my backyard would be like gold.
No doubt.
Not telling a couple $1,000 I'm gonna make that week. Pumped. I hit the lottery today. Literally, I did.
That's it, people. We appreciate it. Fun hanging out with you guys. Till next time. Peace. We out.